Hey, 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 what do you say? This is Till Time with Hope. I am the host, Hope, and I hope everyone is doing well. I don't know about you, but it's crazy that we are in mid July, y'all, but that is where we are. So I want to thank y'all for giving me a listen, but more than that, I want to thank you for sticking with me because the whole creation of Till Time with Hope has been to help spread more awareness by sharing the stories of those that are going through ovarian cancer, those who have gone through ovarian cancer, those who have been affected by ovarian cancer with a loved one passing away from it, and or those who are doing advocacy for ovarian cancer because they know of somebody that has gone through it and has survived or has gone through it and has died, as well as sharing my story with having had ovarian cancer 3 times and have been on this journey for almost 14 years and all that encompasses that. However, that hasn't been what's been going on. As you know, I haven't had a guest on in quite a while. That's because of 2 things. One, the people that I reach out to, they just have a lot of things going on and it's a scheduling conflict. I will admit it's harder than I thought it would be trying to get people to, connect with me and do an interview because of time scheduling, because of their busy life. I am hoping that that won't be the case in the future because I have reached out to a couple of people who do want to be a guest on my show. So I'm really excited about that. In fact, I had a friend of mine whose mother unfortunately passed away from ovarian cancer, and we were going to get together and do an episode for it to drop today, but it just didn't happen because, she is married and has toddlers and works a lot with her job. However, I hope I'll be able to connect with her and get that interview done. Second reason is because I haven't been doing my due diligence. I don't think I'm doing enough to not get on people's nerves, but to, follow up on that email or follow up on that message or follow up on that text of asking people to come on and be a guest, because everybody can be very busy and they may have thought that they answered my email or that they may have replied to my text and they didn't, and they need somebody to follow up with them and say, hey, are you still interested, blah, blah. And I haven't been reaching out to enough people. What is that saying? When you apply for a job, you have to apply to like 100 jobs, and maybe, just maybe, you'll get like 10 or 20 replies. I think it's kind of the same thing, right? Maybe that's how I have to look at it. I need to be reaching out to more people in order to have some people get back with me. I will say I've reached out to some people who simply have told me that they would rather not be on my show because they're just not at a place where they would want to share their story with the world. They may do their advocacy online via Facebook, where they share things about ovarian cancer, about being a survivor, but they are not and may never be at a place where they would be comfortable with talking about it, most especially on a podcast. And I get that. I totally get that. I've said this before. I even said it recently. If I could never talk about ovarian cancer again, I probably wouldn't. It's just very emotional, y'all. It can be hard on the heart to revisit those memories, to revisit that experience. And I am somebody who's not had it once, not twice, but 3 times. So it can be hard. I think most especially going back to 2011 when I first was diagnosed, that's probably the hardest to talk about. Even though I wrote a book about it, it was very hard when I wrote that book. There are some people out there who simply never even want to think about it, ever. As if it never happened, as if it's just part of another life they had. I have met people who have said that. There's nothing wrong with that because that's their life and that's what they need to do, maybe to keep themselves strong, maybe to help them move on. It's been hard for me. 14 years almost later, and if I talk too much about it, can get that knot in my throat and my eyes start to get watery because we went through something that was traumatizing. To not know what's going to happen, to be in this state of unknown. It's not easy for anybody to think it's easy. I hope it never happens to you to have to experience what that's like. The majority of people would never say that, What's the big deal? It was just cancer. I would not hope there are people out there. Yes, I know there probably are. Don't get me wrong. But for the most part, I'd like to think that the majority of human beings out there wouldn't ever think like that. All that to say is I get that people aren't going to always want to share their stories, nor would I want them to. I want people to share their stories because they want to. That's who I'm looking for, is for people who want to come and be my guest. We record for however long they want to talk. within reason, and share. I know it sounds like a broken record, but hashtag sharing is caring, because I believe that this podcast is about that. When we share our stories, there always opens up the chance that lives can be saved, because awareness saves lives. Of course, we cannot say that it will keep people from getting cancer. What a wonderful world we'd live in if that was the case, but it is not. We cannot say that by sharing our stories and spreading this awareness and being advocates for ovarian cancer awareness, nobody's going to get cancer. Of course not. We can't. We simply can't. Having said that, sharing our stories and spreading that awareness and being advocates out there, whether an organization, whether that's one person sharing a bunch of stuff on Facebook, whether that's somebody like me starting a podcast, all of us make a difference. Even if it's just one person, we know it's more than one person. We know that it's more than just one person. But even if it was just one person that resonates with what we share, to the point where they listen to their body because they know what symptoms to look out for. And when they hear those symptoms whispering before it gets to a scream, they go to a doctor sooner rather than later. And because of that, y'all, their diagnosis is stage 1, at the latest stage 2. And that makes it worth it. I would rather never talk about it, but I do talk about it, because when you talk about it, you're helping people. You really are. That's what awareness is about, is that people can become aware of this or that. And in doing so, it helps them one way or another. In our case, it's about helping women know what ovarian cancer is about, what to look out for, how you need to listen to your body, and how you need to keep up with not just your yearly checkups, but also to know what to ask doctors if you think that there could be something like ovarian cancer going on, which is the blood work CA-125 and an ultrasound exam, a pelvic exam. And because of doing that, again, though it cannot keep somebody from having cancer, it can keep somebody from getting diagnosed in the late stages, which, y'all, I wished would have happened to me. I would have rather been knowledgeable about what this cancer is, heck, to even know that this cancer existed, than to be clueless, which is what I was. I was clueless. First, it was because I didn't know anything about it, because I had never heard about it. I had never seen a commercial about it. I had never heard a story about it. I never got a business card about it. I never saw a flyer about it. So when you don't know what to look out for. And then secondly, it's because I was in denial. Once it got to be so bad, and I knew something was wrong, even though I didn't know what that wrong was. I knew it wasn't good, and I was just scared. And it was just almost too late for me. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. It was almost too late for me. That still continues to go on right now. There's still so many women that are being diagnosed in the late stages, unfortunately. I was diagnosed at 40. Other women have been diagnosed at 30. I've met people that were diagnosed in their 20s. It's not just some older woman's cancer. Truly never has been, but I really don't have the stats on that. But I know when I was growing up, I thought of cancer as being something that happens to people when they get old, much, 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 much older. Is that ignorance? Perhaps. Is that naivety? Perhaps. Either way, it was incorrect. It is incorrect. So that's why we share. That's why I share. That's why I would like other people to share by coming on my show and telling a little bit about their story, not to make it about them, not for pity, not for people to feel sorry for them or me or us, but in the hopes that by sharing our stories, lives can be saved. That's really it in a nutshell. So even though I don't have a lot of people that have come on, I'm grateful for those who have been my guest. I am grateful for those who want to be my guest, and I am always looking for people to interview. So if you or somebody you know has been affected by ovarian cancer, no matter where you live, I would love to connect with you and interview you if you are wanting and willing to share your story. Because with each story we share, it opens up the door for lives to be saved. I really appreciate y'all checking in to see if there are new episodes that have been dropped. And the best way to keep up with any new episodes that come out is when you're on your phone on the app for Spotify, just hit that little bell for notification and it will let you know when a new episode drops. Of course, if you like what you hear, I really appreciate it if you would take the time to rate this podcast, leave a comment. It always helps. All of that helps with the algorithm to bring in more attention to this podcast. In addition to that, of course, share on your social media platforms, share in emails. I mean, just share. At the end of the day, just share. If you feel like, this is something that people might find helpful and useful, even if you don't think they will, you never know until you share. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's how I look at it. All right. Well, y'all stay hydrated in this summer heat. And until next time, this has been Till Time with Hope. I am the host, Hope. God bless. Be well. Stay safe.